Yo, what is going on guys? My name is TheJackSilkstone. Today I have a very quick video for you all regarding some very interesting news that we've had from Thorpe Park today. That's right, over on Thorpe Park's social media platforms, they have put out a few posts regarding the logo for the Thorpe Park Resort, and they've been asking for everyone's opinion on what they think of the current Thorpe Park logo, and they've linked a little survey which you can fill out. Now within this survey there are questions like describe our logo in 3 words, out of 5 how visually appealing is our logo, how accessible or readable is our logo, does it fit the brand, and they've just asked for any comments that you might have regarding the current logo. Now Thorpe Park have done these surveys before, they've put it out before they've introduced new events to the park, like the recent carnival event which was introduced in 2022. They kind of offered a few different variants of what that carnival event could look like, and they asked their audience's opinions on what they would like to see come to the park. Thorpe Park are always very good in kind of listening to feedback and making future decisions based off of this feedback. So I'm not necessarily saying that this is what this post is about, but clearly they are asking opinions on the logo for a reason. And yeah, this isn't necessarily a groundbreaking thing to happen within the UK theme park industry, with Drayton Manor, one of the leading theme parks here in the UK, making a big leap with a complete logo rebrand earlier this year. In fact, moving away from just the theme park space, in the overall kind of brand business world, it is a very common trend at the moment for companies to change their logos up a bit, and many of them are either going down a bit of a nostalgic route, and some of them are going down a very simplified kind of flat route compared to their old complex 3D logos. And once again, I'm not saying Thorpe Park are doing this. At the moment, all we've got is just a very basic kind of questionnaire, but it does suggest that maybe Thorpe Park are looking at what they can do to change their logo. Which admittedly for us Thorpe Park fans is a very strange concept, because I imagine for the majority of us, we've only ever known this one Thorpe Park logo. However, Thorpe Park has actually got quite a rich history of logo designs throughout its years. When the park opened way back in 1979, we had this logo right here, which some of you actually may recognize. The park brought it back recently for their retro clothing range. But yeah, this was the OG Thorpe Park logo, and I have to say I really like this one. And yeah, the park had this logo for just under 20 years. In 1998, when Two Swords came along and took over Thorpe Park, they then introduced this logo right here for literally just 1 year. And you have to remember, at this point, Thorpe Park didn't have any of its major roller coasters. Colossus wasn't built until 2002. So at this point, the park was very much a kind of water theme park day out. Like you had Loggers Leap, you had Depth Charge, so you had a lot of water rides at the park, and obviously the park is surrounded by water. So yeah, this logo didn't stick around for long, but it was there for a year. And then obviously Two Swords kind of overtook the branding and introduced the iconic Infinity logo in 2001. However, as you can see, it's not the kind of current logo that we know and love today. It is more of a 3D version of that Infinity logo. And then they re-updated that in 2004 to this version of the logo, which is very similar, but with a few slight differences. And then obviously, once Merlin came and acquired the Two Swords group, and Merlin took over Thorpe Park, they then made another change to the logo and introduced the version that we know and love today. And whilst this logo hasn't changed for over a decade now, Thorpe Park have kind of played around with the branding of the logo and introduced their events into the logo system and the way the Infinity Loop kind of works. Yeah, they've been doing that since like 2019. I think the first ones were like Game FX and Jungle Escape and all of that stuff. But in terms of wider branding at the park, obviously this kind of main logo design was introduced just before the fat heads were at the park. Does anyone remember that time period? Very weird. But since then, Thorpe Park have moved away from that branding. They obviously went through the Island Like No Other branding, and now they've moved into this kind of modern, kind of sleek design. But all whilst this has happened, we've stuck with this current logo at the park. So yeah, it's all very interesting at the moment. As I've said, there is currently this survey out, so I will link it down in the description. So feel free to go and fill that out and have your say. It literally takes like a few minutes. But if not, leave a comment down below, because I'm definitely interested to hear what you all think about a potential logo change. If there is to be a logo change, how much of a change would you like to see be made? Would you like a complete logo redesign, or would you like to see just a few elements of the logo changed? I've seen some people online saying they'd like to see the font changed. I've seen some people saying they'd like to see the entire Infinity logo thing scrapped off. So yeah, there are definitely a lot of options that Thorpe Park can take, and as I said, I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comments below. And yeah, that brings me to the end of this very quick little news update video for you all. Be sure to subscribe to be kept up to date with all of the latest Thorpe Park and Project Exodus news. It's all getting very exciting now. And otherwise, I hope you all have a brilliant day. My name's Jack Silkstone. Goodbye.